Hi, I'm Rob Smucker, and today we're going to be talking about ways to take your weeds from this to this. But I'm really excited today. We have a guest from Texas, my good friend Lynn Lee with a company in Texas called Lee Agra. And so Lee is a third generation owner. The company started back in 1949 with his grandpa. He was a blacksmith in the area. And I'm very excited about this company because Lee Agra makes some self-propelled tractors that are used for many different applications, but specifically we're going to talk about how we can adapt a weed wiper to those booms and attack weeds, especially the Roundup resistant weeds in cotton, peanuts, and soybeans are kind of the three biggies. Although any row crops, this is a great option of being able to get in there, get your high clearance when necessary. And we'll be talking about more in depth of that, but I just want to introduce Lynn, my friend from Texas. Lynn, share with us just again your history and maybe talk a little bit early why you guys started making high clearance tractors. When that started, I think it was in early 80s. Give us kind of a background and then fast forwarding to today, even an overview of what you guys do, because I have your website up here in a second and we can look at all your products, but go ahead and introduce yourself and just a little bit of background there.
Okay, all right, thanks, Rob. Again, Lee Agra, my name's Lynn Lee, and I'm third generation in this company. My grandfather started the company back in, we say, 1949 as a blacksmith shop, repair shop, machine shop. After he came out of the Navy, he kind of learned that trade. He grew up as a farmer, and but he learned the trade in the Navy of a blacksmith. So anyway, he basically started that in the 40s and the 50s and 60s, and then my dad, Sonny Lee, in the 70s took it over and really transitioned us from a repair shop into a manufacturing. And so what happened to us, we had several different products, and we still manufacture a lot of the products they came up with in the 60s and 70s. But everything we've ever done, we've listened to the local farmer. They basically have been the folks that have helped us come up with our product line that we built throughout the years. And when obviously Roundup or glyphosate came out for spraying weeds in the 70s, there was a lot of different products that were being developed to spot spray the weeds in the cotton fields. And mainly cotton is the main product or the main crop around here, especially back in those days. So we came out with a product called a hoe hand, which was actually replaced guys having to hoe in the field. You could actually pull behind, like say, a 40-20, an old tractor. You could pull 3 people on the back of a toolbar that's got wheels and tires on it, and it had a 110-gallon tank, and you could put 3 spot spray guns, and you'd pull teenagers or high school students or college students, part-time guys, hands, whoever, and you'd pull them through the field. So you'd require a guy driving a 40-20 tractor or a tractor, and then it would put 3 guys on that would spot spray the weeds in the cotton fields. And so instead of tying up a tractor, what happened was the next thing the farmers came to us and said, can you build something where we're not tying up a tractor? Diesel's expensive. Can you come up with something else? The tractors are expensive. And so we came out with a product called a Ladybug. And it was a little tricycle machine that used a 5.5 horsepower Honda engine. We built those for most of the 80s, and it was a 1-person machine. Then we made them where you could put another person or 2 on them, and they were really lightweight machines. And so that happened mostly in the 80s, and then in the late 80s, they came to us, so the farmers and the same farmers, and said, hey, can you build a hydrostatic machine that operates by hydraulics? And that's when we came out with the Spider in, I would say, 88, 89. And what made our machine very unique was it's an articulating machine, so it steers with a center hinge just like this, and it also oscillates. So it oscillates for uneven ground terrain. So and we're using that same principle today on all the machines that we build. So it has a very sharp turning radius. So anyway, that's how we got into the spray business.
Well, I love that, Lee. And the thing, I think, I forget when we first met, but the thing that I love about your company, and just in our friendship, how it's very similar. I mean, our company started in the 80s, and like you said, we're farmers, we're listening to farmers, we're looking for solutions. And I love how both of our products kind of fit together so well. And, you even touched on, the early things where people were hoeing, an alternative to hoeing. We all know that even what we're talking about today, these Roundup resistant weeds in fields, it's really hard and very expensive to send hoe crews. I mean, let's be real, It's hard to hire high school kids that want to work. And it's just, it's becoming very, very expensive for farmers. And so looking at solutions, okay, how do we solve this problem? And, one of the fun things that I love to tell a story about is how as things are changing and how, in this case, 1999 happened, GMOs came out, fantastic invention, you're able to spray over the top of cotton and beans and get rid of your weeds. That worked fantastic for 8 to 10, 9, let's say 10 years, until we started seeing Roundup resistant weeds. And the thing I love about agriculture, I love about companies like yourself and ours that are saying, okay, now we have an issue. How can we come up with a good solution that's economical for farmers and is going to solve this weed issue? So that's what we're going to be talking about today, is a very practical way to implement sponge weed wipers and high clearance tractors. So again, I'm going to give an overview again of how it's used and why weed wipers are effective, and then we're going to dive into your website here in just a second, Lynn, and talk about your specific your Spider models and your Predator models. So just to for those of you who are following this, watching this, your website real quick, Lynn, is
www.leeagra.com, and that's LEEAGRA.com.
AGRA.com. Okay, perfect. We're going to be going to that page here in a second, but again, let's rewind the clock. I'm going to say around 2008, 2009, the nemesis in weeds right now, the first one that was Roundup resistant is referred to as either careless weed, pigweed, or the technical name is Palmer amaranth. And we started seeing it in the South. The University of Georgia did some excellent research early on and was able to work with Syngenta to come up with a labeled use for a solution, because Roundup wouldn't kill these weeds anymore. So what's labeled for use in a weed wiper today is gramoxone, which is paraquat, and we're doing it at a 50% rate. Now, I know some of you farmers out there that are, I know you're all familiar with paraquat. It's been around for a long time. Again, it's labeled for use in a weed wiper because you're not putting that, that product. I have the sample here of a sponge. You're wiping those weeds as you're going through the field. So nothing's going on your crops. However, one of the key things there too is we all know paraquat is not the safest chemical on your shelf, and you need to be very cautious in handling it and just being around it. You don't want to get on your face, your skin. So we definitely encourage you to be safe, wear gloves, wear protective gear. However, there are other solutions. Contact us if you want to get more in depth on it. There's some organic solutions if you're an organic farmer. There's also some solutions that where guys are using different forms of low volatile 2,4-D. Helena has a product called Unison, Crossbow. There's a number of different mix rates that you can use, but we're not going to dive into that today. Please, we'll be watching some other series that you can watch on specific things, but I want to preface that because the key, guys, is you're able to use a weed wiper late in the season. And that's where Lynn's company makes a big difference here, because we're talking about high clearance. Most of the wiping, let's just take for cotton and beans, primarily, it's going to be late in the season. It's going to be mid-July to mid-August is going to be that prime time when your crops are at a certain height and you have the maximum height. Very similar. I don't know if you guys can see this behind me, but here's some pigweed. In fact, this photo is taken by some farmers in Georgia. They're using a spider. You can't really see it in the picture here, but you can see the taller pigweed and the results. In fact, I'm sure your company did those photos for us probably, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, I want to say at least, Lynn. And those guys' testimony actually is on our website. We'll be putting at the bottom of this, there's a link to that video. Some good friends of ours in Georgia that have done that. They've used paraquat in a spider, and you'll see their testimony video on the website too. So without going into more of that, Lynn, I'm gonna dive into your website, because guys, this is a great product. And the other thing I love about this is you can see from our website, which is smucker.net, that you can buy a kit and put it on any self-propelled sprayer. However, many farmers don't have there's really two major brands that have a front boom, okay, where the boom's in front. Hagie by John Deere now, and Miller Nitros, where you have a front boom. That's the ideal way to do a weed wiping, guys, because if you're in a row crop, even though you're going down the rows, the weeds you run over with your tires, you're not going to kill. So to get the maximum benefit in row crops, you need high clearance, and it's best to be in front. It's secondary. If you have a boom, that's what you have. You can do that. But so many farmers and custom applicators are now saying, you know what, we've got this issue. We've got to address this. And so let's figure out a way to do this. And the thing I love about the Predator and the Spider is it gives you a low cost way to get a weed wiper out there, and you can do it with a cab or without a cab. And again, just depending upon how much you want to spend. I would love to, and we're going to be doing another interview with a custom applicator out of Kansas coming up. I encourage you to watch that video too. It's with a gentleman by the name of Robert Rooms. He's been doing this for years. He has it on I think he has a couple of them. I think he has a Hagie and a Miller. And we're going to be talking about custom application. But guys, the fantastic thing about this is we can show you, we'll show you in that video how you can use, let's say you spend $150,000 or $200,000. We'll walk through on a Predator with a cab and a weed wiper boom for that. I can show you how you can generate a very good income by custom weed wiping, okay? And so again, I don't want to go into that now. Watch the video on custom application, but I want to kind of introduce that as we're talking about that with Lynn here. So Lynn, we're going to hop on your website here real quick. Okay, Lynn, can you see that there?
Yes,
Okay, actually, I'm going to go back here because we're going to walk them through from the beginning of your website. This is their opening page. And Lynn, I'm controlling it here. So if you can just walk me through, we're going to build, let's build a Predator first, and then let's build a Spider DP. So you go ahead, and I'm just going to follow your lead here. So go ahead.
Okay, just real quick, to get to this particular site where we have our store where you can configure these machines, you're originally going to go to leagra.com, and from leagra.com there's a banner on that page that says try our new online store. And so when you do that, it's going to bring you to this page here. So, and then you can go up to products. Yeah, okay. Well, you've already gotten to that spot, so it landed you here. So we're going to go to products.
Okay.
And then we'll go to high clearance tractors.
Perfect. And this is your lineup right here, Lynn. Why don't you briefly talk about this lineup here, and just a little bit about each of these models, and then we'll dive into the lead Predator.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start with the one on the far right. That's the Lee Spider CL, and the CL stands for Classic. That is almost the same machine that we were building in the late 80s, early 90s. And the only adjustments we've made to those machines were designed just to operate in cotton, and they didn't need as much clearance. A lot of the machines we're building today that are the Spider Classic, they need to operate in 4-foot clearance, and some of the crops that need that much clearance. So this machine has longer legs on it that you can manually adjust the machine up to get you clearances as I think as high as 50 inches in some cases. So that's the basic machine. A lot of guys are it's just a 20 horsepower gasoline engine. You can click on that link and it'll give you where it says configure, and you can go work on the pricing. Now the one next to it is basically the same machine, but it has a diesel engine in it. Right now we're using Yanmar diesel engines, and that one is about a 45 to 48. Well, I think we say on our page a 48 horsepower diesel engine. You can put up to 150 gallon solution tank on it. On both of these machines, or really on any of our machines, you can put a front lift, hydraulic front lift, or a hydraulic rear lift, so it can handle spray booms, wiper booms, all kinds of tool attachments. We got people that are putting on any of our machines, they're putting hedge trimmers, all kinds of different attachments for different crops. The next one over is the Lee Predator, and that is our cab. We actually offer that machine in a cab, with a cab, and also in an open rider station. And that one has a 68 horsepower Yanmar diesel engine, and then we can put up to, we say 200 gallons, but we are coming out with a 250 gallon tank that you can put on that same machine that would have some mechanical agitation in it. But those are really, the one to the left is the Avenger. That machine is really more so designed for the research industry. We sell to a lot of big name companies and universities that you will use that machine for spraying and doing a lot of plot spraying. So that one there is probably not best suited for wiping. I would say for the Lee Predator is probably the best machine for wiping if you need a cab. And then so the key to the Predator is it has hydraulic in and out and up and down motion. So you can get up as high as, I think it's right now, depending on the tire package it's on it, you can get about 84 to 85 inches of ground to frame, from the ground to the bottom of the frame clearance for crop clearance.
Fantastic. So I want to touch on something really quick before we move into this, guys. When you're talking about weed wiping, again, we're talking about soybeans and cotton. However, there are two other crops that are very common for weed wiping that you also need high clearance right now. In fact, it's May as we're recording this. There are many people throughout the Midwest in the wheat belt that are wiping rye out of wheat with the same kind of thing. Of course, that rye can be used, you can use Roundup, and it does a great job of doing that. So they're able to get the clearance there. The other big crop that there's a lot of wiping done in is wiping shatter cane, which is a tall growing, like a form of corn, I believe, in milo. And again, it's later in the season. You need that high clearance. So this is an excellent product for that. And then again, there's a myriad of different crops you can do. I know up in North Dakota, a lot of people are wiping mustard out of their lentils. And so this gives you a wide range. And before we dive into it, just again, keeping in mind, one of the things I love about farmers is they find tools that can do multiple things. So keep in mind, as we're doing this, he's saying that there's a 250 gallon tank for this. Well, that's perfect for spraying. You don't need that volume for weed wipers. You need smaller volume, but by having that capability, you could, for example, put a spray boom on the back and a weed wiper on the front. And theoretically, I've heard of guys doing this where they're actually spraying pesticide and weed wiping in the same pass. That would be very easy to do with a Predator, because you could put the boom on the back and use a smaller tank for your weed wiper and just pump out of that. All right, so now we're going to dive into your website here and build some products. So we're going to start at the Lee Predator. Lynn, go ahead and walk me through here. We're going to start to configure this. So go ahead and walk me through.
Okay, so we just where it says configure right below the Lee Predator, let's go ahead and click that button. And then it's going to pop up this configuration page where you can let's just start right here at the top. Let's start with the different tire and wheel sizes that are available. If you'll click on that, let's go ahead and click a 7.230. That is the most popular option right now for the Lee Predator. You can put a 9.532 as you saw in the option.
Yep.
And then the rider station, this is where you have the choice of a cab, enclosed cab with air conditioning system and all that, or you can do an open rider station.
Let's do enclosed cab. It's going to be hot when they're out weed wiping, and I'm 52. You're about that age too, and we don't need to be sitting out of a cab. And so let's make it comfortable. So let's do that. Let's do the enclosed cab.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
And then the height width adjustment. Let's go ahead and click that tab, and let's go all hydraulic legs, which would be the best choice, and that's what we sell the most of. Okay. And then on your tank package, just FYI, we can do a lot of different variations of a tank package. Obviously, there's not, I would say the most popular option is the 200 gallon, and that would work very well for the wiper system. So, and that comes with a centrifugal pump. And then obviously the solution pump is going to be it'll be the hydraulic driven centrifugal pump, which comes with the 200 gallon tank package. And then spray controllers, there's depending on what kind of boom system you're using, we're not, I don't believe we need a spray controller for, just doing wiping. So let's just skip that part.
Okay. And
then lifts, this again, as we mentioned earlier, these machines, you can be equipped with a front and a rear lift or either or. So let's go ahead and put lifts on the front and the back of this machine.
Can I choose both of them?
Yes, sir. Now you can just at the very bottom, it'll be front and there you go. Well, it should be, Rob, if you go back, you should be able to click the bottom option.
Oh, front and rear lift. I see it. Got it.
There you go. And then if you could scroll down just a little bit more, we kind of bring that page back up a little bit taller. You're going to have your front lift attachment with quick attach. And so why don't we just, let's click that option. And we actually have this configured, the front lift with a wiper boom package at 30 foot. So let's just click that for now. I know in the future we're going to be adding, a wider selection for that. Sure. So rear lift attachment, you can do the same. Basically, I'm sorry, I jumped ahead there. The front lift, this, if you do have a spray boom, this is where you can configure your nozzles and your nozzle spacing. And then on the rear, we'll just say quick attach only. That we'll make that where you can quick attach any boom that you might already have, or if you wanted to put a spray boom on it, you could put that on the rear.
Okay.
So that basically configures the machine right there. And if you scroll down just a little bit, let's take a look and see what it says here. Add to cart, or let's see, I was thinking there was a way to print that out, but basically that's, you've configured a machine, basically a Lee Predator right there. There you go. And then I think you can actually, seems like there was a way to print that out, and I'm not seeing it right here in front of me. But there's a Lee Predator configured for wiping on the front end of the machine.
And let's do this. Let's do 10. You probably have a package for 10, right? Get a little, we'll let you discount, get 10 machines, right? So yes, for all of you co-ops out there that have your custom applicators that are July, not knowing what they want to do, let's just get 10 Lee Predators with weed wipers, and you can cover a lot of ground in with 10 machines. So let's I don't have my credit card with me, Lynn, so I'm not going to buy 10 today, but I'm sure there's lots of co-ops and big farmers that need 10 of these. So we'll go with that.
Very good, very good.
So hey, why don't we go back, Lynn, and take me through a Lee, the Spider.
Okay.
Where do I go from here?
Let's go back to products. I think would be best, and then go back to high clearance tractor at the top. Okay. And that's going to bring us back to the page where all 4 machines, the platforms are there. Let's go to the Lee Spider diesel power. There you
Gotcha.
go. And do the same thing. We start with a tire and wheel package. The 7.230 is an upgrade on the Spider DP, but it's going to give you a little more clearance. So let's go ahead and do that.
Okay.
The 150-gallon tank is going to be the base package with a centrifugal pump. And then click your solution pump would be the, I think maybe you've already done that. Okay, yeah, you have. And you're ahead of me. And your lifts, you're going to go, let's go ahead and do a front and a rear lift.
Okay.
Which you can just put a front lift on this for wiping.
Okay. Actually, let's do this. Let's go the a little more economical route. Let's put this not necessarily with a boom rear lift, but you can add, obviously add that if you want. But let's just do this with front lift only.
Very good.
And then we're going to do a 30-foot wiper boom, right?
Yes, sir.
And notice here that we've got wiper boom only, and then wiper boom complete. Is that with sponges and without sponges? Is that right, Lynn? I'm gonna guess.
Yeah, that's if somebody already has a wiper kit, sure. Then they could just buy the boom.
And so that would be guys, just so you have and he's got it priced exactly what we have, a 30-foot kit. Basically everything you need to attach that to a sponge wiper. The nice part about this, Lynn, is if you configure it, I'm going to assume that when it's shipped to the end user, that the boom, and in this case, if they choose wiper boom complete, are you guys attaching the sponges, or are those shipped separately and then they just attach them when they get the unit? Do you know?
No, they will be. It'll be ready to go when they get it.
Okay. I'd highly recommend this. There's a couple key things that we'll talk about in other videos about how to, rotate your sponges in the right direction. And of course, having Lee Agra do it is you will be up and ready to weed wipe when it arrives. Not much setup. So let's actually real quick touch on this, because I know this will be a question that guys will want. This is all of these prices are FOB Lubbock, Texas, correct, Lynn?
Yeah, that is correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, so obviously it's got to ship. Does just a ballpark? I know you were talking, Lynn. There's a couple units coming up here to Oregon. Let's say a general cost. And again, this is not. We're not going to hold you to this by any means, but a general cost, like to ship a unit from Texas to Oregon or Illinois or wherever the farmer's from, ballpark idea what you're looking at for shipping. You have an idea?
Yeah, I would say let's figure $2 to $2.50, $2.50 a mile.
And let's also talk about this too for transportation. If they've got a like a typical sprayer that you're going to, or sprayer trailer that they already haul their self-propelleds on, or that, the low boys or whatever they have specifically for sprayers, I'm assuming that they could drive to Texas with a trailer and pick it up and pick it up at the factory there also, correct?
That's correct. We have people do that all the time.
What's the road width when the wings are folded? Like with this weed wiper boom, what's your maximum width that you are with that particular boom when it's folded?
Yeah, we're gonna try to keep you under 102 inches wide.
Perfect. Okay, so let's move on. Front nozzles, lift. We're not going to put a rear lift attach on this one. Actually, we're pretty much done. Is that right, Lynn?
Yes, this one's configured, ready to go. If we're just going to put the front lift with the wiper boom on the front.
Look at this, guys. So if you are willing to use the natural God-given air conditioning that he gives and have some shade there, maybe put a couple fans up here, you can be out weed wiping, ready to go for $63,000. Guys, let me do the math really quick for you, okay? Because I can show you how cost effective and how many acres you have to do with this machine to pay for itself, okay? So we're gonna say you're gonna get $15 an acre for custom weed wiping. You're gonna have a cost of about $1 an acre, depending upon what you're using. So let's just take $63,690 divided by 14. So if you simply weed wipe 4,550 acres, your machine is paid for. Guys, you can do that in 3 weeks probably or less, even with a 30-foot boom. You can cover a lot of ground with this machine. 60-foot boom, obviously even more ground. but this is, I believe, a very needed thing in this industry. So even if you're a farmer and you don't custom applicate, I can tell you from experience of farmers telling me this all the time is they clean up their field with a weed wiper on their sprayer, and the neighbors, are wondering, how did you do that? What did you spray? And they can tell them confidently, hey, I did this with my weed wiper. If that neighbor farmer, he's more than likely going to have the same weeds. And so even as a farmer that you don't have any plans to custom applicate, if you're willing to do some custom application, you are saving your neighbor a lot of money. I've been told by so many farmers that the cost of hoeing, which is really your only other option at this point, when those weeds get beyond escaping what your pre-spraying has not been able to cover, I've heard over $100 an acre. So that obviously varies, and trying to find people to go out and hoe is not easy nowadays. So again, just to kind of justify the cost of this, it's a great unit. And again, in this case, we saw the range is not very much to get these things equipped. So anyhow, Lynn, what else can we go through here? In fact, I'd like to, before we end too, I'd love to just talk about the other products you have. So I'm going to go back to your home page. Give me just kind of a overview of something else that the farmers might be interested that you guys manufacture. So I'm at the home page. Tell me where to go from here.
Let's go back to products.
Okay.
And let's look at Lee diesel fuel trailers.
Perfect.
And you kind of scroll down through there. We build 4 different models of a fuel trailer. We've been doing that since the 70s.
Wow.
We build basically a 500-gallon, which is the 475. That's the first one that popped up at the top. That's a 500-gallon fuel trailer that comes with a pump, transfer pump, ready to go. It's a tandem axle trailer. We also build a 1,000-gallon. We call it our 975. And then we build those are really designed for the agricultural market. And then we build for the construction market, oil field, other entities. If you go down to the bottom of that page, there's the DOT 500, then the DOT 990. And then if we scroll down a little bit more, we build a DT 200, and that's a 200-gallon tank that's on a little trailer. And we'll circle back around to that. But if you go back up to products, I'll show you more about that DT200. This has become a very popular product. We ship these all over the United States. They ship on a pallet.
I'm gonna interrupt real quick before we go to the next product. One of the fun things that it can be added to your predators and really any kind of farm equipment. Sorry, this is a short commercial for VisionWorks, but the fun part about this that I just literally thought of is you could put a wireless camera on the back of this trailer just for backing it up to something. But here's the fun part: you could put a secondary camera watching just on the unit there. Our wireless cameras have the ability to record. And let's get real, fuel prices aren't what they used to be. And if we get a fuel shortage like we've had in the South here this year, hopefully that doesn't happen again. But it's going to make these fuel tanks, portable fuel tanks, very susceptible to theft. And so the fun part about putting a camera on this, not only for backing it up and just for backup safety, but again, I'm going to just throw out our website, visionworkscameras.com. We have a new wireless system that has a built-in recorder, so you could easily set this up where you're recording 24/7. And if something happens on a job site or out in the field, unfortunately, or just because there are people that are stealing fuel out of these, you would be able to catch that on the same camera that you're using for backing that up. So sorry, quick commercial there. I'm going to come back to you, Lynn. We're going to go on products and tell me where we're going.
Okay, and then we'll just go to the next one down, the fuel tanks. And that's just going to give you, this basically starts with a DT100, We build, these are more like stationary tanks, but our most popular is the DT200. You can configure that with different pumps, a hand pump, a 13 gallon per minute DC pump, 15 gallon, a 20 gallon. You can put a hose reel on it. You can put you can configure it a lot of different ways. A meter system. Yeah, exactly. And so that has probably been that little DT200 I'm amazed about how many of those sell each week and each month, but it's a real popular item. And the thing that makes it unique is it's got the forklift rails in it. If you look at the top, you can see on the top and the bottom, you can pick this up and transport it with a forklift, real easy. Set it in the back of a pickup, and then take it to town, fill it up, bring it back out to your barn or your shop or wherever you're using it. We also have people that are using it for hydraulic oil. They're also using it for heating oil. We've got some companies that are using it to store waste oil until somebody comes and picks up their waste oil, hydraulic or motor oil. So really any petroleum products that we've got a lot of people using it for a lot of different things. So.
Fantastic. I love that. And I noticed here too, you've got a battery box. So again, if this thing's stationary, you could easily put a 12-volt camera on there and monitor your camera, even if it's not on the trailer. In a stationary position, go to your wireless to your monitor that can be in your shop or wherever it's close by. Within about 1,000 feet, we can get the range there, and you can be recording a simple recorder that you can use on the farm and catch someone stealing your fuel.
Very good. Yeah, we need to add that on our configurator there, Rob, the cameras, so they can go ahead and add that one there.
Sounds like a great idea to me.
Yes, sir. And then back to products, and I'll wrap it up on the products because we could go on and on. We do have, and again, this is another product that we've been building since the 70s. I'm not going to say we invented the quick hitch for on the back of a tractor, the 3-point hookup, but we had to be right in there close. And this is one of those products that transitioned us out of a machine shop, blacksmith shop in the early 70s into a manufacturing facility that my dad came up with, again, with the help of the local farmers. And so the 3-point hitch, we built a Cat 4 all the way down to a Cat 2 and Category 2. And then we built some specialty stuff for the little side swipe hitch that you can see there. So that's the quick hitches. And then let's look and see, I think there might be a few other things, but you can play around with the products there and see all the different things that we do build.
I have a quick question for you on this one, Lynn. I should know more about this product, but obviously this is for the back of tractors. Do you have a version of this that allows you to put something similar, a quick hitch on, say, to replace the bucket on a front end loader? Or
we don't right now. There are people that will use our hitches to attach to the front end of a loader, but there are some modifications that need to be made to the hitch to make that work.
Okay. Well, the quick hitch function is just a nice feature. I'm gonna, again, weren't planning on this, but many of the farmers will use our 3-point hitch weed wipers, and they may already have one, and typically that's on the back, so you could use the quick hitch for that application. But again, we talked about the benefit of having the wiper in front. So if you have a front end loader and you want a quick hitch and modify this, it would be another great option to do there. So anyhow, just some quick things there. Thank you so much, Lynn. I'm going to go back to away from screen share here, if I can figure this out. And while we're doing this, Lynn, is there anything else that you want to cover here in this meeting?
No, I don't think so, Rob. I appreciate the opportunity to show you and your customers the line that we have of products for the high clearance tractors. And we appreciate you guys and Smucker for all the things we've done a lot of business together over the last 10, 15 years. And we appreciate you guys and who you are and what you do for the ag industry.
Well, we appreciate that. Thank you, Lynn. Again, we'll kind of wrap up here. Thank you all for joining this online conference. Again, we appreciate your time. One last thing that I'm going to say about Lynn and his company, you know, in today's world, there are a lot of people, a lot of companies out there, unfortunately, that are really just in it to make a quick buck and really don't take the time to build a quality product. I'm going to plug all the American-made manufacturers. Now, I realize, just so you know, we import the cameras from a country in the east from here. However, I will say that the weed wipers are made here in America too, and I would highly encourage you all to buy American built. And again, I know Lee personally, he's a man of integrity, and it's always great to do business with companies that we know have not just their best interest in mind, but your interest as a farmer. And so thank you, farmers, for what you do for us. Lynn and I will build products for you, but when we sit down to eat a good steak or bread from you wheat belt guys, we recognize that it's you guys that are feeding America. So thank you for that. Yes. Lynn, thank you so much for taking the time today. I'm looking forward to getting this online, and have a great day for all of you that are watching this. So thank you very much. Thank you, Lynn.
All right, thank you, Rob.
How you doing? I'm Brian Fleming. This is my dad, Bobby Fleming, my brother Brent, and we're from Hartwell, Georgia. We have a severe pigweed resistant problem here in northeast Georgia that Roundup will not affect them. So a couple years ago, we went out and bought this Lee Spider sprayer from Lubbock, Texas. And instead of putting a spray boom on the front, we went with a much more economical route with a Smucker weed wiper on the front. I'm gonna turn it over and let my dad tell you a little bit about this wiper and the mixture that we run.
What we normally run on pigweeds is a 50% mixture of gramoxone, water, good surfactant in with it, make it good and stout where to stick. We, the way this thing works really with this Lee Spider is everything's up in front of you. Don't leave much of a track, and you can really see what you're wiping. You get close to your beans. You can really look at what you're doing. We've also used this on Johnson grass. It works good on Johnson grass, sort of wipe it both ways, wipe it one way, come back, wipe it the other way. Good mix, same thing, 50% Roundup, 50% water, got your surfactant in most Roundups. And it really works great. So, Brent?
When you get ready to apply your chemical to the sponge, what we do is we'll hit our pump and it'll fill it up, and the way we get it spread out evenly on the sponges, we'll either take a water hose after we get done and run on it, and take some protective gloves and spin it over and sort of ring it, make sure the sponge is completely saturated, and we'll go from there. This is so economical. You don't have to buy a 15, 25 foot boom. You can also buy a 10-foot boom, just something easier for what you have, so you don't have to go out and buy the biggest, longest applicator that they have. You could get one that fits on a four-wheeler, 10 foot, whatever meets your needs. But this is so economical, it beats walking 500-600 acres with a backpack sprayer, you and 2 other people spraying pigweed all day. You can cover so much ground with this in so little time. You hardly ever, what?
You just don't spend a whole lot of money on it.
You don't have anything really in it for what you got.
And you're not spraying your crop, you more or less wiping the weed itself. So there's really no injury to your crop. It really works good. It's, this is the time of year that you really plan for your weed stuff. Right. And this is a good addition to a weed. If it gets out of control, you lose control of it. You get a little height differential. This really works excellent. And hopefully everybody controls all their weeds every year, and but we don't seem to always do that. But this is a good option for anybody that wants to use it. Thank you.